Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, February 8th, 2021. I am Dave Biddle. I am joined by Steve Helwagen. A lot of Buckeye stuff to get to. Before we get to that, the Super Bowl last night, Steve, I don't think anybody saw this coming. I did pick the Bucs to win, but I picked them to win a close one, a thriller. Instead, they just beat down the Chiefs 31-9. It was weird not having any Buckeyes in the game, although it kind of felt like we did with Antoine Winfield Jr., who had an interception. Man, what a surprising Super Bowl with the Bucs just crushing the Chiefs 31-9.
It was weird not having a Super Bowl without any offensive tackles for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think is what we should probably say. That was the determining factor in the game because Mahomes was running for his life the whole time. I don't know. I mean, just it's unfortunate. Chiefs had such a great first 2/3 of the year and kind of limped home, at the end, and were just kind of a shell of how great they were earlier in the season. And here we are with Tampa Bay, a team that during the regular season had a couple blowout losses and, never really, they were always kind of lurking there. And everyone said, well, Brady, this and that. And they put it together at the right time and won the Super Bowl. So, what can you say? I mean, just hats off to them, hats off to him. He just keeps right on rolling. Gronkowski comes, back from the old age home as well and, has a big game. And I couldn't get over all the hatred for the weekend, Dave. That was weird to me. I think people forgot it was a COVID concert. And I think he got in, he played the hits for 12 minutes and he got out. And that music, if you're not under the age of about 25, you probably haven't heard much of his music. And to me, the end with blinding lights and the people dancing around and everything, that was fabulous to me. But I don't know. I listened to it because my kids, have me listening to it, I suppose. But I thought it was fine. I don't know what people expect in this day and age to make a big deal about it. The commercials were pretty good, and the game not so much.
Yeah. I even an old guy like me, I like The Weeknd. I like his music, so I was a fan of the halftime show. All right, let's get to matters involving our Ohio State Buckeyes. First of all, I haven't had you on the show since this just was announced Wednesday. It hasn't been that long. Just a few days ago, last week, Ryan Day announced the coaching moves with Greg Madison retiring. We knew that. We were wondering what's going to happen. What's your reaction with the promotions of Matt Barnes to secondary coach and Parker Fleming to special teams coordinator? I know a lot of fans are not happy with it, but I think some fans are starting to come around. What are your thoughts on those promotions?
Yeah, very interesting. And obviously, kind of like the Corey Dennis situation, Ryan Day had a situation with Parker Fleming where he was very comfortable elevating him to a full-time position. And I don't have a problem with that. I think you need a blend of guys, and I think you need younger guys to go out and hit that recruiting trail hard. And I think that's where Parker Fleming is going to pay many dividends, to my way of thinking, is getting out there on the recruiting trail when you can, obviously, and securing them some more great players. I don't have a problem with that. I think where people are upset, I mean, you give up 52 points to Alabama and you're thinking, okay, you're going to go out and get a guru or somebody who's going to help you solve the problems. And instead they elevated the graduate assistant or the quality control assistant who was already there. I think people were looking for some new ideas to help put them over the top to win the national championship, which they may or may not have needed. I think that game was flawed, obviously, from a personnel standpoint, being down a couple guys because of COVID, and really a personnel standpoint because Alabama had better players. I think that was probably the biggest issue that kind of manifested itself, that if you were going to give their quarterback time, to stand back there, he was going to pick you apart. And that's exactly what happened. So obviously, to fast forward this to today, you got a situation now with Tennessee coming after Al Washington.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, Ryan Day said he was not of a mind to have a co-coordinator. Well, this situation reeks of elevating Al Washington to co-coordinator status and giving him a big raise to keep him from going to Tennessee. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. Day's, I wouldn't say he's backed himself into a corner, but he's got some tough decisions he's going to have to make here very quickly, because I'm sure Tennessee and Al Washington want to make a decision if, in fact, he is the choice for Tennessee as their next defensive coordinator for Josh Heupel. So a lot going on, obviously, and the hot stove league, it always churns, it seems, here at the Ohio State College.
Yeah, if you're Al Washington, it's an interesting situation. Again, assuming that he has been offered the defensive coordinator job, or he is at least, strongly been targeted for it. Here's a guy, he's from Columbus. He's 36 years old. He seems very happy at Ohio State, but he's obviously on the way up. And, if Ohio State does him right and, gives him, even if they don't give him the title of co-defensive coordinator, maybe if they do and they give him a nice raise, he'll probably be happy. Then again, you can make the argument, even though Tennessee's in disarray right now, if you're going to be the defensive coordinator in an SEC school rather than the linebackers coach at Ohio State, that's a move up. Even if Tennessee is going to be having some dark days ahead, and it looks like they will with all the the scandal that's going on down there. I don't know, man. I'm leaning that they're going to take care of him enough. They're going to give him enough of a raise. If he requests a title, if that's a deal breaker, they'll probably give him that too, if that's what it takes. I tend to think he's going to stay at Ohio State, but it's an interesting conundrum that he's in if he is offered this job. I mean, defensive coordinator at Tennessee, that looks good on the resume.
Yeah, no question about it. To be a coordinator in an SEC school, a lot of guys jump off from those jobs to become head coaches. Whether it's at a Power 5 school or not remains to be seen. But, I think Al is definitely trending upwards. He's got the right people behind him, the right people that, trust him. And again, how much does being back in Columbus weigh into his feeling and the idea that, okay, you have this opportunity this year, there may be something even better come down the pike a year from now. Perhaps the opportunity is there for a promotion at Ohio State, either as the coordinator or the co-coordinator. I don't know. It's not going to be the coordinator this year per se, but maybe down the line. You never know how many more years Gary Combs is going to go. So, it is what it is, but I think he's got a tough decision to make, no doubt about it.
All right, let's move on to other matters of business. Who's going to be the quarterback, Steve? Who's going to be the quarterback for the Buckeyes in 2021?
Oh, man. We know less about these guys than anybody who's ever come down the pike because we didn't get to watch them practice. Unless you went to the games, you really didn't get to see them throw before the games. And Stroud, Miller, Stroud. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say Stroud just because it seems like he's got the higher upside, but Miller could be just as good a player. It's just he didn't come in with the high rankings because he was injured as a high school player. So you don't know. And then you've got McCord coming early from high school as a 2021 prospect. It's a complete unknown, and I hope we get a chance to watch them practice a couple times at least this spring, in addition to the spring game, so that we can form some opinions and get an idea of what is each guy capable of. I don't even think we know that. You have to go back and look at old high school tapes to see exactly what each guy can do. And I wouldn't think that they'd be in this position if they weren't great players. And I wouldn't think Chris Olave would have come back if he didn't think one of them was capable of getting the ball. So you kind of lean on those two facts and put your trust in Ryan Day and Corey Dennis that they're going to find the right guy and that the train is going to keep running, rolling down the track. Now, will it be as great as the offense has been the last 3 years? I don't know. That's a good question. Haskins, Fields, those 3 years were pretty good. So, when you play a young guy at quarterback, you run the risk of a bad pick, losing a game maybe that you shouldn't have lost. That's all a possibility. That schedule came out this past week. There are some challenges on there at Indiana, particularly. I'd say at Michigan at the end, but whatever, Oregon, Penn State at home. There's some tough games on there. So, whether that guy's going to be able to lead them to an undefeated season or not, I don't know. But Stroud seems to have the inside track to me as of right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's going to be a fun competition, and especially when we have things called no football games for a while, which is sad to think about, but we get to talk about a quarterback competition for the next few months. That's always fun. I do think it'll be CJ Stroud. I've mentioned that on the show many times, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, he's got two really good guys competing against him. They were all handpicked by Ryan Day, all three of them. So it's going to be fun to follow. They're all very talented. It's going to be a heck of a QB competition to follow. Okay, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. I feel pretty strongly, Steve, that the Buckeyes are going to tap into the transfer portal and at least get somebody, maybe two guys. I mean, it's going to be the Wild West this year, and even before this, Ryan Day has not been shy about tapping into the portal, and he's done a great job with it with Jonah Jackson, Justin Fields, Trey Sermon. Gunnar Hoke's the one that was just more roster filler, so to speak, depth when they didn't have many scholarship quarterbacks.
Policy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I am convinced they're going to get somebody, and I think it's going to be a defensive back. I think they're going to try and find a corner. It doesn't have to necessarily be your number one corner or even number two. It could be a depth guy, or it could be a guy that could challenge for your starting role, or at least a top backup role. What do you think about that? You think the Buckeyes are going to tap into the portal, and if they do, you think they're going to target a defensive back, or what do you think is going to happen in that respect?
Yeah, I think you bring up a great topic. I think I have them 2 spots under the 85 limit. I think if you had JT Tuimoloau later on, whenever that happens, then you'd only be 1 under. But we also look at it that probably somebody is not coming back after spring practice, or maybe even not even go through spring practice and just quit the team before that and transfer elsewhere themselves. So there could be 2 spots. And I would say in a perfect world, if you gave me home run transfers at, middle linebacker or outside linebacker, somebody who's going to impact the game at linebacker, somebody with experience, because right now they don't have anybody with any starting experience coming back at any of the 3 linebacker spots. And then you make a good point at cornerback. I think if you got a Kendall Sheffield type who was able to come in and even be your number 2 corner with Sevyn Banks, that seems like a win-win situation to me. Those are the 2 areas to me. I think you're pretty well stacked across the board. You don't need a starting offensive lineman like Jonah Jackson. You don't need a wide receiver. Could you use a 1,000-yard running back? Well, maybe. I don't know. But, Master Teague, when he's healthy, it was weird. Master Teague's last memory everybody has was not playing very well against Alabama. People forget that when he was going good at the end of the regular season, he played pretty well. So get him healthy, and maybe he can be your stud running back. But those are the 2 areas, linebacker and cornerback, to me, Dave, that I look at, and I just say, hey, they got to find a difference maker if they can. And again, it's cultural fit, it's athletic fit, academic fit. You just don't go out there and put a call out on the waiver wire and take somebody to take them. You got to have a good fit. And I think that's what Ryan Day succeeded with Jonah Jackson, and certainly with Trey Sermon last year. He was a great cultural fit for Ohio State, fit it, and he waited his time and exploded at the right moment. And, that's the kind of player they're probably looking for.
All right, let's close the show talking about this fantastic Ohio State men's basketball team. If you're a listener out there and you don't care about Ohio State basketball, thank you for tuning in. It's been great talking to you. For the rest of y'all, how about this Ohio State basketball team? Chris Holtmann and the boys are going to be a top 5 team when the rankings are released later today. I thought they'd be good this year. I never thought they would be a top 5 team. What a credit to them. They've won 7 of their last 8 games in the brutal Big Ten. They're sitting there at 15-4, 9-4 in the Big Ten. coming off a fantastic win over Iowa. I love this team. They're deep. They're tough. Opposing coaches say things like they're the toughest team in the Big Ten, meaning physically toughest. That used to be Michigan State, and then who's the second toughest team? Now it's Ohio State's the toughest team physically. I love that. I love the depth, like I said. They get Maryland tonight on the road, Steve. You're all over the coverage of this team. Does it surprise you where they're at, and what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of a surprise when you're able to go on the road, and it started with Rutgers, and then they kept it going with Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. 4 really good road wins. First time in school history they've beaten 4 national top 15 teams on the road in the same season. That's pretty amazing. There's still a lot of work left for this team to do. 9-4 in the Big Ten. They can get to 10 wins in the Big Ten tonight against a Maryland team that is really kind of struggling. They've got veteran guards. People will know the names Ayala, Morcell, and Wiggins. Those 3 guys have played a lot of basketball for Maryland, but they really don't have the inside presence that they've had. Excuse me. They got a good wing, Dante Smith. He's really good, or Dante Scott, rather. He's really good. On Saturday, they scored 50 points in their game against Penn State. On Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was, I think it was Thursday, Ohio State had 47 points in the second half against Iowa. So to me, the Buckeyes have too much offense, will probably overwhelm Maryland a little bit, but it's at Maryland. Ohio State's 0-4 all time at the Xfinity Center, the new building that Maryland has there on their campus. And a tough place to play. Buckeyes need to go and establish their dominance early. And this team's got, as you said, toughness, length, versatility, and depth. And that's what this team wins with. When they get contributions from 7 or 8 guys, meaningful contributions, they win games. And so I want to see if they can carry it over. You can't look past anybody in the Big Ten. Maryland's got some good wins this year. And even though they're only 10-8 on the season, 4-8 in the Big Ten, I believe, they're scratching and clawing for everything they can get in the tournament. So Buckeyes, will have a tough assignment tonight, but they need to go out, play like they have. They should be okay. And really, a lot of tough challenges left. This home schedule remaining, Indiana on Saturday, plus Iowa, plus Illinois, plus Michigan. They have 3 of the top teams in college basketball still to come on the home schedule. So win your home games, win the games you're supposed to win. This team will be right where they need to be come March.
Come and get some is what I say, the way the Buckeyes are playing right now. Thank you very much to the versatile and tough Steve Helwagen. Great stuff from Steve. Thank you to all of the listeners out there for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Have a great day, Bucknutters.